I don't think I have to explain how a core tenet of Trump's strategy as a self-proclaimed strongman is to never admit fault and never back down. We just saw a rare break in that strategy today as Trump took to Truth Social writing, "I know nothing about Project 2025, I have no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them." Now, a ton to cover here, but let's not bury the lead. Trump is very clearly worried about the fact that his policy platform, which to be clear is Project 2025, is turning out to be aggressively toxic as far as Americans are concerned. Project 2025 would realize Trump and the conservative movement's decades-long plan to effectively erase any and all gains as far as civil rights and freedoms are concerned. And don't just take my word for it, take the word of those actually authoring and implementing the plan itself. Here's the president of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts.
The reason that they are apoplectic right now, the reason that so many anchors on MSNBC, for example, are losing their minds daily is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Or this tweet from another Heritage Foundation mouthpiece, CJ Engel. "We're coming for the Civil Rights Act next, then the New Deal. We're going to repeal the 20th century." And they're not kidding. I know Republicans traffic in lies, but this is a rare instance where they are telling us exactly who they are and what they will do. Almost as if they're employing the Trump tactic of saying something in broad daylight to somehow make it feel less corrupt. But it's not. Here's what Project 2025 will seek to do. Take away reproductive freedom nationwide, reverses federal approval of the abortion pill mifepristone, excluding the morning after pill and men's contraceptives from coverage mandated under the Affordable Care Act, bans pornography across the country, gives handouts to the ultra-wealthy, dismantles the Department of Education and attempts to claw back Biden's student loan forgiveness, rolls back every ounce of progress we've made on tackling climate change, reinstates and expands Trump's Muslim ban, puts more guns in schools by way of arming teachers, builds camps to detain and deport 15 to 20 million immigrants, many of whom have only ever known life in the United States. Calls for the LGBT programs to be replaced by policies that support the formation of straight families, reinstates the ban on trans Americans serving in the military, cuts money from school meals, which Project 2025 calls an entitlement program, despite it being the only hot meal for many food-insecure children, and most chillingly, it would seek to consolidate power in the Oval Office, which would gut our system of checks and balances on presidential power. And if you've been paying attention, you know that the Supreme Court just made that possible by granting the executive branch immunity, meaning there is no longer any check on criminal behavior by a president. So if anyone tries to stand up to Trump and he decides to jail them, or worse, all in the name of protecting his perverted version of the Constitution or national security, there is no recourse, all thanks to a Supreme Court that is wholly owned by Donald Trump. And I'm not exaggerating here. The arguments of this case were literally predicated on this notion that a president could order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, all in the name of it being an official act.
Could a president order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? That's an official act in order to SEAL Team 6?
He would have to be and would speedily be, impeached and convicted before the criminal prosecution.
What if he weren't? There would be no criminal prosecution, no criminal liability for that?
Chief Justice's opinion in Marbury against Madison and our constitutional tradition and the plain language of the impeachment judgment clause all clearly presuppose that what the founders were concerned about was not.
I asked you a yes or no question. Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is no.
My answer is qualified yes.
So for that to be the hypothetical situation posed by judges, and for it still to get the green light, goes to show that the plan is no longer a secret. It is a coup taking place in real time. But just because it's happening slowly does not mean it's not happening. Now, as far as Trump's original claim in his post on Truth Social, that he has no idea who's behind it, this is yet another example of the guy treating his supporters like they are absolute fools. Because Trump may claim that he doesn't know who's behind it, but I'm pretty sure he knows John McEntee, Trump's former director of the White House Presidential Personnel Office and one of his closest aides while in office. Pretty sure he knows Russ Vought, who ran the Office of Management and Budget in the Trump White House. Pretty sure he knows Paul Dans, the head of Project 2025, who was the chief of staff at the Office of Personnel Management. Pretty sure sure he knows his former Deputy Chief of Staff, Rick Dearborn. Pretty sure he knows his former Housing and Urban Development Secretary, Ben Carson. Pretty sure he knows his acting Deputy Homeland Security Secretary, Ken Cuccinelli. Pretty sure he knows Peter Navarro, who served in Trump's National Trade Council. Pretty sure he knows the Heritage Foundation, the largest conservative think tank in the United States. Pretty sure he knows his own campaign press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, who literally starred in recruitment ads for Project 2025. So let's be clear, Trump knows these people, but he also knows that the people who support him will swallow his lies without an ounce of pushback, and so he lies to them without hesitation. Republicans hate Democrats, but not nearly as much as they hate their own supporters. In fact, here's Heritage President Kevin Roberts again broadcasting that it will be the Trump administration that will actually enact Project 2025.
We've been working with all of them on one project since soon after Joe Biden took the oath of office, before any conservative presidential candidates had even entered the race. As my friend and colleague Paul Dans before talked about briefly, our Project 2025 has developed a comprehensive policy agenda, but even more importantly, recruiting people, 20,000 people to go into the next administration, hopefully to help take back this country for you and for your audiences. We want no credit. We want the American people, if President Trump is elected again, President Trump and his administration, to take credit for that. But it will also be a great sign, if all of this is successful, that in fact, as we know in our prayer time, but maybe not every time when we're watching the news, that the Lord is still smiling upon America.
So when Trump tries to distance himself from this agenda or claim that he doesn't have any intention of implementing it, that sure does seem like news to the folks who will be imbued with power if Trump wins. But here's the most important part about this. Donald Trump wouldn't back away from this plan unless he realized how damaging it was to him politically. Remember, Trump doesn't do or say anything that isn't calculated in some way. There was very obviously some internal polling that exposed just how toxic Project 2025 is to his political aspirations. And now that Americans are learning exactly what the agenda consists of, Trump's only priority is pretending that he doesn't know anything about it. Only problem is that Donald Trump is so ham-handed with his lies that he says stuff like this: "I know nothing about Project 2025, I have no idea who's behind it." He's clearly lying about that, which should betray the fact that he's lying about everything. This was posted not because it's true, it's clearly not. It was posted out of fear because people are learning the truth about what a second Trump term would bring. And let's be clear, there is a lot to fear. When people like Kevin Roberts say that this is the second American Revolution, or when he invokes the prospect of bloodshed, just know that he is not kidding. This is the culmination of a century-long plan laid out by Republicans. The GOP just succeeded in stripping away women's reproductive rights with Dobbs, overturning 50 years of precedent. They succeeded in eliminating the Chevron doctrine, which would prevent judges from disregarding the Council of Experts and allowing them instead to rule based on their own partisan ideologies, overturning 40 years of precedent. They ended affirmative action, overturning 60 years of precedent, and they're gonna keep going. They are saying this stuff out in the open because they're just that confident that it's gonna happen. So when Trump pretends that he's got no idea what's happening, just ask yourself whether these former Trump administration officials would be that confident if they didn't already have Donald Trump's support. This isn't rocket science, guys. It is just Donald Trump taking his audience for fools. So I get that there's a lot of consternation right now about Joe Biden, but frankly, the plans set forth by Trump and Republicans are so aggressively dangerous that our job here is simple and remains constant. We have to ensure that Democrats have full control of government from state legislators all the way up to the White House so that no part of Project 2025 ever comes close to being enacted. Joe Biden or not, having the Democrats in control ensures that our rights and freedoms will be protected. That is what this election is about. You're not casting a ballot to punish or reward Joe Biden or to express confidence in his debate skills. You are casting a ballot to protect your own future from the dangerous plans set forth by Trump and his closest allies. That is what's on the ballot in November. I've got a really exciting announcement. I've written a book. It's called Shameless. This book explores how Republicans have exploited their historical branding while attacking our democracy, how the media has proven itself a willful participant, and how Democrats can learn from this to rebalance the political scales and save our democracy. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to write my own book, and so I'd like to ask you to pre-order it by clicking the link right here on the screen. And if you buy within this pre-order period, your book is going to come with a signed nameplate. As you know, I've never had a single sponsor on my channel. I don't ask for money or anything like that, but if you're looking for a way to support me, this is hands down the best way to do it. So again, follow the link right here on the screen, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for pre-ordering Shameless. And as always, make sure to subscribe to see more of my content.